Brandonian emergency broadcast. For some reason, as of this time, Alberta is the only province in Canada that has absolutely no restrictions on bars other than staying open till 11 o'clock or 10 to party. Yeah, because you know what? We're in level 4 lockdown in northern Edmonton because the hospitals are overloaded. I've got nurse friends who are in quarantine, who are emergency room nurses, and ICU is packed. But you know what? Everyone in southern Alberta, or BC, or any area, because there's nothing else to do, why don't you come to Banff, Alberta? Because we're open for business. Jason Kenney, open for business. Why don't you come to Sunshine Village or Lake Louise? Why wouldn't you? There's nowhere else you can go. I've served people from Toronto, from Montreal. They're red zone lockdowns. But you know what they say? Hey, je peux pas aller à mon place, là. Je viens ici, là. Or Toronto, like, hey, I can't party in Toronto, so why don't I go to Banff? Because we're the Las Vegas of Canada right now, and it's horse shit. It actually is horseshit because politics come to a point where there's Jason Kenney over here and there's Trudeau over here. And Jason Kenney said months ago, if any of you remember, which you don't because who gives a fuck about that bullshit. But unfortunately for me, I look at this shit and I'll tell you why we're having a hard time right now. Jason Kenney said, I'll never shut down restaurants again. They have suffered too much, which they have. But he said that like 3 or 4 months ago when everything was fucking like hand jobs and gravy and things were going really well for everybody. The wave had reduced. COVID wasn't really a thing anymore. We could pretend it wasn't real. Yeah, he made that statement and now we can't back away from it. So now he's playing chicken with the prime minister to enforce emergency orders on us Albertans, so that way he doesn't look like a bitch, because he said he'll never shut restaurants down again. So he's waiting for Trudeau to use emergency orders, and now it's a game of chicken. But both are just being a bunch of assholes, because you should call it. Look at Banff. We're at 102 active cases. By Monday, we'll be at 1% per capita infection rate. And guess what's happening too? If you actually look into the death rates and details, young people in their 20s and 30s are dying from COVID. In fact, death rates from COVID are skyrocketing right now. In about 2 weeks, first wave is going to look like a little bitch. And the whole attitude, there's one thing I want to say. If you're still watching, which you probably aren't, but if you're still watching, I saw my grandma yesterday. She's 92 and she had a stroke. And a big thing that I heard a lot of going on, and I kind of agreed to it to a point during conversations before the second wave, was the fact that science and technology has progressed us to allow for people living longer than they should. In a nice way, I mean that. And, you know, people started saying, well, at-risk groups they might die. You know, the smokers. This guy has his pack of smokes a day. The old person. Well, fuck that. I saw my grandma today, 92. She just had a stroke. She doesn't deserve to die because she's old. She doesn't. She's not ready yet. If she was ready, she could go. If she's not, she's not. If she is, she is. But that's not up to me to decide. I'm just really glad that I can see grandma. But the fact that actually people are talking about like, oh, well, maybe there's too many old people. They paid the taxes. They built this country and they fucking raised you. And it's time to stop fucking treating people like if they're 90, they deserve to die. Or if they're 80, they deserve to die. It's time to treat everyone equally. And the whole excuse of anyone being a little too old that they should just be let go. I'm really tired of that shit. Everyone deserves to live single, not single, married, with kids, not with kids, grandma, not grandma. Everyone deserves a go. And holding my grandma's hand today, she's a person, and she's lived a long life and she's done a lot. She doesn't deserve to just be erased because of a fucking pandemic where you deserve to go to the bar and get fucked up with your friends. And then this is dragging on, but I'm going to also say it too. There's a point where we have to make a personal choice because our government in Alberta is too weak and too frail and too much of a pussy to fucking, because they're busy playing politics with Trudeau. It's time for us to say it's not safe to go to work anymore, because it's not. It's just not. We'll look back and we'll realize this is real. It is. The ICUs are full. Canada is a very special country where we actually have a lot of freedoms and a lot of free press. So even though Global, The Sun, the Edmonton Journal, whatever you want to fucking read, it's all bullshit. But they're all actually reporting at least 35% or 50%. Well, they're actually all proven. They're just picking and choosing what they report on for numbers. They might take something and make it something, but they don't. We're in a really special country where you can actually look at CBC, and I'll be honest, they're not lying about COVID rates. It's not in their best interest to scare you. Well, it is, but it isn't. This is what I'm saying. It's time for us to rise up and just say it's not safe to go to work. I'm in a biased situation. I saved money up 8 months ago knowing this would happen. But a lot of people can't afford to not go to work. If you're not laid off, you can't get EI or CERB. And your jobs can't be expected to close unless you're ordered to close. So really, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just time to shut everything down for 2 months. The second wave was predicted. It was planned, and it was told it was going to happen. A lot of us just missed it, didn't take it seriously. But now that we're amongst it and the vaccine is on the horizon, we can get through this. We're going to have another lockdown. We are having another lockdown. Don't be a fucking, I want to be positive. I'm not being negative. I'm just being a realist. There is another lockdown. And we need to fucking stay home. And I don't think going to work and serving hundreds of people a day from various regions of Canada is safe for anybody. And I think it's time for that shit to fucking stop.